Right now, Dubai International Airport is one of the busiest airports on Earth. Every day, hundreds of thousands of people move through it, and Dubai is planning to abandon it. In 2035, confirmed, DXB closes permanently. Finished. 75 years of history, shut down. Not close it, not reduce it, shut it down completely. Move every airline, every route, every operation to a brand new airport being built in the desert 37 kilometers away. The replacement airport is planned to become the largest on Earth. A passenger terminal so massive, it would dwarf every airport that exists today. Its target? 260 million passengers a year. The cost? $35 billion. The question nobody can fully answer, will it work? And what happens to Dubai? And to everyone who has already bet their future on it, if it doesn't? To most people watching from the outside, this makes no sense. Dubai International is not a struggling airport. It is not outdated. It is not in decline. It is one of the world's busiest international airports, also one of the most connected airports on Earth. So why would any sane government decision-maker look at the world's most successful airport and say, we need to build a completely new one? The answer requires understanding something about the nature of growth. Dubai International is built in the middle of the city, on all sides of it. Roads, residential neighborhoods, the Dubai Creek area, decades of urban development that grew up around the airport over 50 years. There is nowhere to build another runway, nowhere to add another terminal, no room for the airport to grow. And the demand for growth is not stopping. Global aviation demand is exploding. And Dubai sits in one of the most strategically important locations on Earth. From here, huge parts of the world are only a single flight away. Emirates believes that advantage will become even more important in the future. DXB was designed for a world that no longer exists. The new airport was designed for the world that is coming. But the mystery goes deeper than simple capacity numbers. Because Dubai International is not just full. It is full in ways that cannot be fixed. The airport has physically reached its limit. There is no room for another runway, no room for another terminal, no room for the city to move around it. As of this month, Emirates has sent out an official warning to passengers. It says, arrive at least 3 hours before your flight. Not because of security upgrades, not because of new procedures, because the airport is operating so close to full capacity that even a small delay can quickly turn into a missed flight. The congestion is not just inside the terminal. The roads leading to DXB are already overloaded during peak hours. And then there is the noise. DXB sits inside the city. The flight paths of planes arriving and departing pass directly over residential neighborhoods, schools, hotels, and business districts that have grown up around the airport over decades. There is no engineering solution to any of these problems. You cannot move the city. You cannot compress the flight paths. The only solution is a new airport, built far enough from the city that it can grow without hitting any of these walls. Dubai's answer sits 37 kilometers away in the desert, a project called Al Maktoum International Airport. And if completed as planned, it could become the largest airport ever built, which is what Dubai announced, and then delayed, and then announced again over the past 2 decades. And there is another contradiction hidden inside the project. Dubai says this airport represents the future, but building one of the largest aviation megaprojects in history also comes with enormous environmental cost before the first passenger even arrives. Al Maktoum International Airport sits in Dubai South, a purpose-built economic zone on the southwestern edge of the emirate, next to the Jebel Ali port, one of the largest container ports in the world. The airport is not just a building. It is the centerpiece of an entire new city. The site is enormous. Al Maktoum is planned to be several times larger than Dubai International itself, before a single commercial flight even uses it at full capacity. A terminal so massive, it could become the largest on Earth. When Sheikh Mohammed approved the latest expansion plan in April 2024, he said, "Dubai will be the world's airport, its port, its urban hub, and its new global center." That sentence contains a very specific ambition. Not just one of the world's great airports, the world's airport, the hub that connects everything to everything else. The strategic logic is clear. Dubai sits at the intersection of Europe, Asia, and Africa, the geographical sweet spot of global aviation. But Dubai is no longer alone. Istanbul wants the same role. Saudi Arabia is building its own giant airport in Riyadh. The race to dominate global aviation has already started. Dubai has decided that the only way to hold that position and expand it is to build infrastructure that no competitor can match. Something so large, so capable, so well positioned, that the question of which hub to use answers itself. Let us talk about the number at the center of this project. 260 million passengers a year. At first, that sounds like a planning figure, an ambition on paper, the kind of target that governments attach to projects to make them sound impressive. When you put it next to real numbers, it becomes something different. Dubai International, currently the world's busiest international airport, handled 95 million passengers in its record year. Al Maktoum is designed for 260 million. That is nearly 3 times the record of the busiest airport on Earth. 260 million passengers. That is more than the entire population of Brazil passing through a single airport every year. Building for 260 million passengers changes everything. Roads, trains, baggage systems, security. Entire transportation networks have to be built around the airport. It requires not just one terminal, multiple terminal buildings, each one larger than most airports that exist today, connected by. Entire transportation systems will have to be built around it. It requires a surrounding residential and commercial city for the hundreds of thousands of workers who will operate it, planned to house 1 million people in the Dubai South District. And it has to be operational. Phase 1, serving 150 million passengers by 2032. That is 6 years from now. But here is what the promotional materials for this project do not tell you. This mega project has been announced before. When it was first announced, the target was to have 120 million passengers moving through it within about 15 years. That deadline passed. Then the global financial crisis froze construction entirely. Then it restarted. Then COVID arrived and froze it again. Then a redesign. Then a financing delay. Then, in 2024, it was approved again. Bigger, more expensive, more ambitious than ever. The airport that was supposed to be receiving passengers years ago is now targeting 2032 for its first operational phase. And DXB is confirmed to close in 2035. Every deadline has been missed. Every timeline has been extended. Each time there has been an explanation, and each time the next version of the plan has been bigger than the one before. But there is a deeper risk that goes beyond timelines. Dubai's economy is built on aviation, trade, tourism, and real estate. All 4 of those depend on stability: political stability, regional stability, global economic stability. In early 2026, regional tensions briefly disrupted operations at DXB, reminding Dubai that its greatest geographic advantage can also create vulnerability. And there is the question of what happens to the airline itself. Emirates, which carries the majority of DXB's traffic, has confirmed it will move to Al Maktoum in one go, not gradually, not over months. The plan, as confirmed by the Dubai Airport CEO, is to make the switch in as little as 24 to 72 hours. One day, every Emirates flight lands at DXB. The next day, they all land somewhere else. No airport transition of this scale has ever been attempted before. No airport transfer of this scale has ever been attempted anywhere in the world. The faith behind it is not blind. Emirates is already investing in new maintenance facilities near Al Maktoum. New Emirates engineering centers are being built near the airport. The airline is mapping out what it calls its transition plan. But the word that keeps appearing in all of this planning is the same word: transition. Moving the world's most complex airline from one airport to another, cleanly, safely, without a single day of disruption to hundreds of thousands of passengers, is something the aviation industry has never attempted before. But the most human part of this story is not about airlines or runways or passenger numbers. It is about the people who have already committed to this project with their own money and their own lives. Dubai South, the district built around Al Maktoum Airport, is not empty land anymore. It is a real and growing community. Prices in the area have risen roughly 20% in just over a year. People have moved there. Families are living in houses they bought because they believe that in 10 years, they will be surrounded by one of the world's great aviation cities. Businesses have set up warehouses and shipping operations next to what they expect to become the largest cargo airport in the world. The airport is right next to Jebel Ali Port, already one of the busiest container ports on Earth. The two together are designed to make Dubai the global center of goods movement. The government's long-term plan is for Dubai South to house 1 million people. 1 million people in a city that currently has a fraction of that population, built around an airport that is still largely a construction site. Those 1 million people have to believe that the airport will be built as promised, that the airlines will come, that the economic activity they were sold on will actually arrive. If the project is built and succeeds, Dubai South becomes one of the most strategically positioned communities in the world. Property bought at today's prices will be worth multiples more. The businesses that moved early will have locked in their advantage. If the project delays again, if the airlines don't come on schedule, if the terminal phases slip by years, those families and those businesses are sitting in a half-built city, waiting for a future that keeps getting postponed. It has happened here before. So here is where the story lands. If Al Maktoum International is built as planned, if Phase 1 opens in 2032, handling 150 million passengers, if Emirates makes its transition by 2034, if the full 260 million passenger capacity is eventually reached, Dubai will have done something no city has ever done before. It will have replaced the world's busiest international airport with something 3 times larger. It will have made itself so essential to global aviation that choosing a different hub simply stops making sense. It will lock in the position Dubai has spent decades building. And the million people who built their lives in Dubai South will find themselves at the center of one of the most active economic zones on Earth. If it fails, if the timelines slip again, if the transition is bungled, if competitors close the gap while Dubai is mid-construction, then the world's busiest international airport will have been deliberately wound down before its replacement was ready. A city that bet its future on aviation will have disrupted the very thing it depended on. And $35 billion will have been committed to a project that delivered less than promised, again. The gap between those two outcomes is not mainly about engineering. Dubai has shown it can build extraordinary things on almost any timeline, when the will is fully committed. The Burj Khalifa, Palm Jumeirah, Expo 2020. The gap is about execution at a scale and complexity that has genuinely never been attempted. Moving the world's most complex aviation operation from one city to another, while the world watches, and the planes keep flying. This project was first announced when the iPhone was brand new. It has been delayed, frozen, restarted, redesigned, and approved again. It has survived a financial crash, a pandemic, and years of quiet doubt from the aviation world. And now, finally, DXB has a closing date, 2035. That is not a rumor, that is confirmed. Right now, in the desert southwest of the city, something is being built, slowly, at enormous cost, with a deadline that has moved before and could move again, but also with more commitment behind it than at any point in the project's history. Emirates is building its engineering future around it. Thousands of families have moved their lives there. The ruler of Dubai has put his name on it personally. Aviation is one of those industries where being the biggest and the best feeds itself. The more connections you have, the more airlines want to fly to you. The more airlines fly to you, the more passengers come. The more passengers come, the more connections you get. Dubai has that advantage today at DXB. The question, the one nobody can fully answer, is whether it can transfer that advantage from one airport to another, across 37 kilometers of desert, in the middle of one of the most competitive aviation races on Earth. And whether the families who moved to Dubai South got there early enough to see it happen. If this is the kind of story you come here for, subscribe. Titan Projects, the hidden stories behind the world's biggest ambitions.